Well, hello everybody. This is Dr. Hoskins again. I finally got the cords from Dell, and let me show you what that looks like real quick here. I'm going to show you some video I took earlier when I opened up. You can see that there's a box. Oh, going to talk, isn't he? So what's cool is I don't know if you can hear that or not, but that's the box that came in. And it's kind of cool because when you open it up, it is packing slip. It's hard to do that with one hand. Oh my goodness. Packing slip. And the part number is RKM0R. But I'll show you here in a little bit. You really don't need these parts. And I totally missed that. But the two parts that you need are right there. That's it. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. But, you know, for $3, I've got two of them now. Put them over there to the side, and we're all good. Nothing else in the box. Very cool. So that's what went on. And open a box. Then the next step is to open up the computer. So here I am opening up the computer. This is 3 times normal speed. It took me about 15 minutes to do this. I did get my music director at church to give me a pick, and it's a fairly stiff pick. I know that the repair kits that you can buy that like Linus Tech Tips and those other guys get and sell have a pick in them that's probably a little bit thicker than the one I got, but this one does the job. You just got to get over it. There are all of those. What I do is I loosen them all up until I hear them click out of the grooves, and I just leave them there. That's the hard drive I'm going to put in. It's a 2 terabyte hybrid drive. It already has all my Dropbox information on it, so instead of letting the computer sit for a week trying to get all that synced, there it is. So the snaps on this are pretty robust. So you've got to be a little aggressive, and you've got to be a little bit sure of yourself. And it just got to be... The trick, though, is to do the front. This is upside down, obviously. To do the front evenly, and then it pops open, and then the back end slides off, and you'll see that happen here in a second. So I'm just now getting it all popped up, making sure those are undone. Those kind of have a retaining aspect to them inside, so you just set it off that way. Now, if we stop it here, okay, so what I did is I just peeled off the cover of the hard drive bay. What I didn't notice before, let me just back this up just a little bit. Before, when I looked in here, I did not notice this little tab right here. I don't know if you can see my cursor. That right there is actually the connector that I ordered. I had 2 of them in the box. So it's in there. Somebody emailed me and said, what about the bracket? Well, the bracket's right there too. I'm going to show you another really cool thing that's included in the bracket. Full instructions on how to do it. You do have to take the battery off. There's 2 screws on the battery. There's one here, and there's one over here. This one over here is the hardest screw I've ever done in a computer repair. This one, every time I've messed with this one, it falls out and in between the motherboard and the case. Don't know why. I've been working on computers since Commodore 64s back in the mid-80s, so it's not my first time. But the battery in this computer only has 2 retaining screws. The third retaining screw is actually from the case itself, and this right here is just a pin. So when we put it back together, this pin needs to be in place. The retaining screw is actually one of the ones from the lid we took off. That retaining screw over there easily pops out. This one kind of stays in place. But we got to get to this little port right there, as you'll see in a second. So there's that one that gives me trouble, and just moving enough out of the way. That is one of those special retaining clips that pops forward and then up. Then as you push it into place, you have to make sure it goes all the way in and back. It's got a little T, I'll show you here in a second. It's got a little bit of a T. I don't know if you can see the little tabs here to the side. It's kind of hard to see. There's little tabs to the side that have to go further in, and they actually lock behind something. and that pulls down the thing on top of it too. You make sure it's tight. It already has a bend in the cable, so what I did is I just used the bend it already had to fold over, and you'll see that in a second. So 4 screws to hold it down. What's really cool is Dell put in 4 screws in these little holding places. I've never seen a manufacturer do this before. Give you everything you need to expand. This is the first time in it, and it's very exciting for me to know that Dell's actually thinking forward on this. This is really, really cool. But all 4 screws you need to mount the hard drive are already on the case, already inside the computer, and they're right there. You do have to take them out, and they're in there pretty tightly. So just make sure they don't go flying everywhere. And then what I do now is I verify, bend it over where it is, verify the orientation of the hard drive that's going to go into the bay. And what I found is it goes with the label side down. And then you just put it together. So I know this is very boring for those of you guys to do this, but this is the first one I've seen that actually, I'm not found a video that walks through all these steps. Again, anybody could have figured this out that's done any kind of computer repair before. And I know that there was an embargo on talking about the Ryzen 7 and the Ryzen 9, the 3000 series Ryzen chips. I obviously am not a reviewer, so I wasn't underneath that embargo, and I got some of that data out. It's doing pretty good. I'm very, very happy with it. It tends to be working better the longer I use it, which in my experience typically happens. So there, making sure the battery's there. You'll see me fight with this screw. There, it popped out. I got to take that out again. That screw just absolutely every time gets me. Every time. So so there it is. Showing you where the DIMM slots are, the DDR4s full. There's only 2 slots full. Make sure everything's still collected. So you've got to put the back on first, seeing if they have. That's where I verified they have retaining screws. Put the back in first, kind of lock it in like that, and then you just walk the snaps forward. Walk the snaps forward. Walk the snaps forward. Verify. Squeeze it. Squeeze a little tighter. Squeeze a little tighter. Take a look. Make sure. And then Grandpa always told me, put your screws in first before you tighten any. I like that one right there has got a special retainer, so there's only one way it can go in. But I like to get all these started. You'll see this one right here kind of goes in at an angle. I'm going to struggle with that one a little bit because, yeah, see, I tried to put it in. I didn't want to strip it. Took it back out, forced it to go vertical, and then it went right in. So all these will have a specific orientation, so make sure they go in. But make sure they're all seated before you go through and tighten them. And that's what they do with tires on your car. That's what you should do here. And that way it doesn't unevenly put pressure on any components. So there we go. That one, why did that one slow down so much? Oh, I know why. I went to the new clip. So this one's normal speed now. Yeah, I didn't slow down that much. We went to a normal speed clip. Now, this is the moment of truth. It's like, okay, Lord, is this going to boot up or am I going to have some issues? Verify that everything's nice and they're tight and squeezed. The bezel on this, the side parts of this, are actually flush with the top. You can see some artifacts here, but it's actually flush with the top, so that's really good. Okay, lights came on. We got the keys, so I'm already excited. We're going to get the Dell symbol, and then we'll get the Windows little twirly thingy there, and make sure I didn't leave anything out. Oh yeah, going to plug it in because I didn't know booting up and stuff. I wanted to make sure that the hard drive had power. Probably wasn't necessary, but I just wanted to make sure. And then there we have Windows. And yes, you don't get to see my password or my PIN code because this thing has a fingerprint recognition on it. So there you go. Meh. There it is. So let's verify that it's actually connected. I had this 2 terabyte drive partitioned, and so you'll see here, this is the OS drive, and these 2 are actually the same drive. I had them partitioned, one for the OS and one for data. It's just what I chose to do when I bought the drive. After this video, I actually go and destroy this and expand it and actually make a music drive out of that one. So all my music and stuff is in one place there. And that's it. It's working, and it's working beautifully. It's over there behind me now. I don't know if I'll show you here in a second. So there it is. So there's the 2 drives. Just in case you were wondering. So again, you can see it here behind me, chugging away with. I have resources going, the resource monitor going, just to see how the network's working, and to see how the hard drives are working, and to see how all the other stuff that the resource monitor does. But it's chugging along, making sure that my Dropbox, which was on the 2 terabyte that I installed, is synced up so that when I go and do work, I have work to do. I'll keep reviewing this on a regular basis, just on my experience with the computer. So far, I'm extremely happy. Today I was getting some weird pops and clicks. I bought let me back up. It has a single 3.5 inch tip ring sleeve headphone jack. So because a headphone, it's a microphone, it's a headset, it's external speakers, whatever, but it's only one jack. And the setup at the office is I have a standalone mic, but I don't want to use the computer speakers, and I don't want to use the monitor speakers. I want to actually use my studio speakers. So I actually found a TRRS to TRS splitter that specifically does microphone and headset. So it's not just two headsets, or which is the normal one. You have to go TRRS to TRS splitter and make sure it's got the labels of the headphone and the microphone on it. And that way I can hook up my studio mic as well as my headphones or my studio speakers in it. The operating system or the hardware will pop up its manager, and you just have to tell it that it's a headset, so it recognizes both of those, which one's using which ring, and it does a great job. So the video I did today from the office was actually that setup, and I was quite happy with the sound. So there we go so far. Any other things that I get, I will let you know. I'm not very happy with the Bluetooth mouse. It is not functioning at the quality of connection that I'd like. I don't know if it's the mouse itself or the Bluetooth connection. The Bluetooth keyboard is amazing. I'll show you that on another one. It's both of those are like 20 bucks a piece. They were just ridiculously inexpensive. I'm very happy with the power supplies I found. They were about 15 bucks a piece, 25 bucks a piece. And like I showed you before, they have the 2.5, 5 amp, one of those two USB charger ports on them. So you can actually use the charger base, the converter, as a USB charger port. So it's pretty convenient. It's very, very, very similar to the power pack on the Microsoft Surface tablets, if you guys are familiar with that. Anyway, I've been talking for way too long. It's 13 minutes. But that is taking apart, putting together the Dell 5585 with the Ryzen. Well, it doesn't matter what chipset it is. I'm sure all of them are the same. And all the stuff's there, guys. All the stuff is there for your additional hard drive, unless it's a return and somebody's taking it out. If it's new, it's there. I was very surprised at that. So I've got 2 extra ribbon cables. If anybody cuts one, let me know. I'll send it to you. So anyway, thanks, guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.